Firstly, for practical reason, it is clear that for practical reason, the African agenda is highly dependent on the external actors than the Africans themselves. That is very clear. According to Basnizak and Razkowski, Africa does not own its point of view in resolving its own problems. And therefore, it has in one way or the other have to use the European or American perspective to resolve any problem it faces. Therefore, implying that we do not have an agenda. Makhetlan further argued that the future of Africa, more than that of any continent, hinges on the collective global action. According to Herbinet and Edvik, Africa is a well-known agenda taker than agenda setter on global affairs. That, I think, make us to understand that we do not have an agenda of our own. And this is not new, because Kwame Nkrumah himself previously viewed African independence as neo-colonialism or sham independence, for a fact that political power without economic power equally amount to nothing, as the system itself undermines political independence and creates economic dependence. That was his own statement as a person who firstly set the agenda of African unity. And then, even recently, some literature sources still shows that nothing has completely changed. The Economist had in various eras evaluated African economy, 2000 as hopeless, hopeful in 2011, fastest in 2013. However, in the same 2013, Africa exported only 18% of manufactured goods and imported 65% of same goods. And then, according to Arte, the situation of Africa is made worse by exporting low-value primary product. Therefore, despite the internal problems of the African agenda itself, there are too many external factors inhibiting its success, because the continent itself is regarded as a home to the world's poorest region and home to the poorest states worldwide, and which is a contradiction to the well-known narrative of an African continent that is rich in gold and mineral resources. So our history as Africa is full of contradictions. So let us look as to whether the African unity agenda is sustainable within the context of current leadership. Now we are coming closer to home now, to current politicians. With the previous agendas which were set many years ago before some of us were born, political leaders experienced problems. Of course, they were not cruising like the current ones. Some military takeovers and coup d'etats took place while they were busy trying to resolve regional issues. When you are busy trying to deal with continental issues, they send you there. When you come back, you don't have a government. You have been deposed. Those were the challenges that previous ones met. But current ones, there is no likelihood of them to meet that. So, although the current leaders are supposed to be cruising, as I say, but they continue to be highly challenged with regard to the unity of purpose in this regard. Or very important, our leaders, immediately, the first time they get elected, the first flight they prepare is either they go to America or to London or so. We never had them, after being elected, going to negotiate trade with Mozambique and others. We always hear President of Botswana is flying to China, President of South Africa is going to London, President of is going there and there. That's what we hear. to get an agenda, of course, maybe, for some reasons. So,
I'm speaking as a public representative whose job is to conduct oversight over members of the executive, and I couldn't help but nod furiously at every slide that you presented. Our observation is that the oppressed has now become the oppressor. So if you look at the modus operandi of the colonizers, they plundered the continent for self-enrichment. We're seeing our leaders now plundering the continent for self-enrichment. The colonizer abused the people for personal gain. Our leaders are doing the same. And it begs the question, where are the leaders who were once willing to pay with their blood for the liberation of people? When activism was not sexy, it was not popular, you literally could die for your cause. Where are they now? And it pains me to say, some of them are still around, they're in office, and they become the subject of newspaper headlines for malfeasance, graft, theft, delinquency, and all manner of debaucherous behavior. The same ones who were willing to pay with their blood are now the bloodsuckers, drinking the blood of their people. And it makes me ask the question, where did we go wrong? If we don't find the answer, we are going to perpetuate the problem. The next generation of leaders are waiting in line saying, it's my turn to eat. So is it a problem of inculturation, that we're not giving our young people values, and that perhaps is something that starts in the home to say, we don't value bling bling, we value human lives? Is it a problem of how we're teaching our kids at home? Is it a problem of the syllabus, the education system, where we're not teaching the kind of Africanism that you speak of? Where are we going wrong? Because if we don't find that cause, we're going to replicate, and the next future, our children and their children are going to do much worse to us than our current leaders. Thank you.